What were some of the stories you remember your grandparents telling you as a child?
My grandfather used to love, he had 10 grandchildren, and we were all basically the same age. We ranged from people, somebody 4 years older than me to maybe 6 years younger. So there was 10 grandchildren. He loved for all those grandchildren to sit around, and he would tell us these stories. And sometimes, and he didn't remember everybody's names, so he just called everybody George, women and all. So he would tell us these stories. Sometimes he'd tell us these stories twice or 5 times or 100 times. But he grew up, his dad was born in 1895 in Shingle Creek, Florida, and he would tell these stories such as when he was a kid, they didn't have any lights. And they had a pump outside and all this kind of stuff. And so when it got dark, they'd have to go to bed. They only had was a lantern, and they'd put a pie plate behind the lantern, and that would shine, make it shine a little bit further. And they had a hog pen out there from the house, and they had a big boar hog, the wild boar they'd caught in a trap, and they had him in that pen. And about dark, they heard the hog squealing and the awfulest racket and the roaring and carrying on, and the low light wouldn't shine far enough to see very far, so they said, well, there's so much racket going on down at the hog pen, we're going to wait till daylight to go and see what's happened. So daylight came, and they got up, and they went down, and a bear had come in and got in the pen with the hog, and the hog killed the bear, and the bear killed the hog. So there they both lay, the bear gutted, and the hog broke his neck or whatever. And then he would tell stories he'd love to sit around and tell stories like that. So we were very fortunate that he was around at his time to where we could sit down as kids and listen to all these different stories that he went through. He was in the military in World War I, but there's one thing he did not talk about a lot was his times in World War I. In the military. He did not, for some reason, he would not talk too much about that. I don't know why, but anything else that has to do with the cow business or turpentine, he was in the turpentine business over here. That's the kind of reason he came over here in 28.
Can I tell you about the Depression?
You'll have to answer that.
Well, I was born in 1924, so I do know a little bit about it. It was real tough, but we survived very nicely. Had plenty of food, and didn't have anything fancy, but there was a period of adjustment. People that didn't adjust, they didn't survive. So.
Okay, what were some of your favorite pastimes as a child?
As a child?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, swimming in a lake over there on Kissimmee. Kicking the football. I kicked the football 1,000 times over there when I was a kid. My oldest brother, and I kicked the football for hours at a time when my dad didn't have anything else to do. Well, let me see if I can explain this. Turpentine is a product of pine trees, and they scar the pine trees and make it bleed. It bleeds well if the trees are at the right stage and age. In the springtime, and distill it, and it makes a turpentine that you put in paints and all kind of stuff.
When you came to Pasco, why did you dig the ditches and the different overpasses?
This land here that I own and Mark and I own today is called Florida Flatwoods. That means it is very poor drainage. And so, since I've been here, since 1947, I put in over 35 miles of ditches. Now, only one ditch is of any size, the rest of them are small. But this takes the surface water away to keep the grass from souring. Water stands on grass, and no matter how nice the grass is to start with, it will turn sour, just like clothes in a basket that gets wet, and pretty soon they sour. When the grass gets sour, the cows get poor as snakes. So we had to fix this land where it's.
Did you clear all this land yourself?
Did you
Well,
clear all this land yourself?
yeah, all kind of ways. You know, I had Hercules Powder Company, who was a stump company, came in and got the pine stumps. There was probably 400 or 500 years old, and they took the stumps away and made gunpowder out of them and so forth. But I cleared the land myself, really, basically. Yeah, I didn't have a bulldozer, but
How much land did you clear? How many acres?
it's about 1,000 acres, somewhere in there. We got a little more than that right now since Mark kind of